Talk about low-budget flights, no food or movies? I'm out of here. I like running better. Welcome back, YouTube viewers, to another video. So, I do want to review Shadow Generation, Sonic and Shadow Generation. That just came out. Everyone's talking about it. But there's something I wanted to get off my chest that I really want to talk about. So, this was supposed to come out yesterday, but I'm doing it today. And that is Archie Sonic lore that will never be solved. And I don't mean what you think that means. Yes, the comic story is not going to be resolved unless you read Archie Sonic Online like I do. We're never going to get to see what happened to Shard for sure, which was a last minute story anyway. We're never going to see when Sally got saved. We're never going to see Bunny and Antoine come back. We're never getting any of that. But I don't mean the main story. I mean the lore specifically. Now this is something that is super minor. Something only the most die-hard Archie Sonic fans like myself would even know about. And that is something that is contained in the Sonic Comic Encyclopedia and nowhere else. So, because I was rereading it recently, and I've got something that I think is video worthy. So without further ado, let's do it to it. So the topic that I'm focusing on is the 7 Ixis Masterworks. So on Mammoth Mogul's page in the Sonic Comic Encyclopedia, it talks about how he was once Ixis Mogul, leader of the Order of Ixis during the Forgotten Wars, a group of evil wizards trying to conquer the world. Ixis Naugus was the last of the Order of Ixis, and yeah, if you're an Archie Sonic fan, you probably know this. It's mentioned in the comic before. It's not super obscure for Archie Sonic fans, but there's something in this book that it talks about specifically, which is that it says, okay, aside from, the mutates, which are mentioned here too, which, yeah, that's a whole other topic, which I could just sprinkle in at the end, but it says that one of the things that is rumored to have been done during the Forgotten Wars is that Mogul created 7 Ixis Masterworks. Now, this is probably just something that was tossed into the comic, the encyclopedia, to sound ominous and do some little bit of world building. But it got me thinking, what are the 7 Ixis Masterworks? Are they people? Creatures? Places? What? And now, when I first read this, I thought it was interesting, but I didn't actually really think about what they were because, yeah, it probably was just thrown in there. And I still think it was just thrown in there, but it is mentioned one more time in the encyclopedia, and it's just mentioned as something random. It is something very interesting, and that is Mephiles, Iblis, and Solaris. We all know of these characters from Sonic 06, obviously. And Mephiles never did appear in the comic, unless you count his brief cameo in Scourge Lockdown, which is an alternate universe version of Mephiles, but anyway. So Ian Flynn said that no, there's not going to be a Sonic 06 adaptation in Archie. There never was going to be, because why would he do an 06 adaptation if it just erases itself at the end? And 06 is such a big story, it wouldn't fit into the Archie lore anyway. So he didn't do it. But here, it says that something like the story of Sonic 06 happened. We just didn't see it, of course, because it got erased at the end. And then it talks about Solaris. It says, Mephiles, Iblis, all that stuff. But when it talks about Solaris, it says, no one knows where it came from. Some believed it to be one of the 7 Ixis Masterworks, while others believe it always existed. That got me thinking, why out of anything in this comic would it be written that the only thing that is rumored to be one of the 7 Ixis Masterworks is Solaris? What does that mean? We have some vague idea of what the other 6 might be? And remember, also, by the way, Ian Flynn said that there never was going to be an 06 adaptation. He wanted to put Mephiles in the comic in some way. I mean, he wanted to put Mephiles and Black Doom in the Shadowfall story in the reboot, but he ended up not being able to do that. Instead, came up with Black Death and Eclipse, which honestly was for the better. But anyway, yeah, it was really interesting. So, what are the other 7 Ixis Masterworks? Considering how little information we have on this, and I don't think you're supposed to know, I don't really have much to say, but I do have a theory on what one of these 7 Ixis Masterworks is, and that is Feist. Archie Sonic fans probably know Feist, the Lord of the 7 Chaos Emeralds. He originally had 8 panels of page time and 4 lines of dialogue, as Lovar would say. He apparently just was Ixis Naugus goon or something, and then he was trapped in the Zone of Silence, and then over 100 issues later, when he's not even mentioned since then, Sonic and Tails go into the Zone of Silence, now called the Special Zone, to get a Chaos Emerald because millions of them from across the universe were sent into there. But then they find that Feist is still there, has renamed the Zone of Silence into the Special Zone, and has taken the power of the Emeralds and formed them into the 7 Chaos Emeralds from the games. So, I just have a question. How did he do that? Well, one could say, okay, he was powerful and he just absorbed the emeralds or something. I mean, that's not impossible. I believe that. Here's the thing. Um, it says that while incredibly powerful, the reason he served as one of Ixis Nagus goons is because even he couldn't defeat him. I was thinking that Ixis Nagus is very powerful, and while he's not the most overpowered character in Archie Sonic history, I'm just thinking that um, he has some knowledge of chaos power, and Feist. If Feist is one of the 7 Ixis Masterworks, it makes sense that the only thing that could be an Ixis creation like him is an actual Ixis wizard. Maybe? I don't know. And so the reason I think because remember, also Mammoth Mogul studied the Chaos Emeralds. He had one infused into his chest. That's what made him immortal. If he created the Chaos Emeralds and created the 7 Ixis, if he created Feist, it makes sense that Feist would have such easy power over Chaos Emeralds because sure he could have just absorbed them, but as Ray says in Sonic Universe, everyone can react to the power of the Chaos Emeralds. Some just react better than others. And also, even if he could do this, he did it instantly practically. 2 issues later, he had just fully absorbed their power, reshaped the special zone, and everything. How did he do this? Well, because I think he's one of the 7 Ixis Masterworks. It says we don't know anything about his background, where he came from. He's just been there. I think this is a really cool theory. I don't know, I just really want to talk about this after thinking about it. So, in conclusion, yeah, this is never going to be solved. Let's be honest. I doubt anyone has even ever talked about this. I doubt anyone has even ever discussed this on an old Archie Sonic forum or asked Ian Flynn about it on his podcast. Someone should, though. In fact, if Ian Flynn somehow ever sees this video, I really hope I can get an actual response from him about this because I just really like this theory I came up with. So yeah, I think that Solaris and Feist are 2 of the 7 Ixis Masterworks created by Mammoth Mogul during the Forgotten Wars. That is so much. Also, side note, so after a bunch of the stuff in the encyclopedia, it shows the Mobius timeline. Okay, the lore, main comic story. Then at the end, it shows some stuff about stuff like the 25, 30 years later stories. But at the very end, it only are Solaris, Nephilis, and Iblis are mentioned on the very last page. Why weren't they mentioning the stuff about the future? Silver, stuff like that, Dark Enerjack. I don't know. Maybe it's because, he just wanted to shove Nephilis into the back at the very end, but I don't know. I feel like I'm onto something here. And of course, I'll never have anything to confirm any of this unless I'm somehow going to talk to Ian Flynn, but hey, this is just my theory and I think it's really way past cool. So comment down below what you thought of this, because I find this whole thing really interesting. That's all for now, and as always, keep on juicing.